The Witch of Moon's Lane presents How to Witch, Bitch.
Welcome back to How to Witch, Bitch. Michelle, how are you?
Good, thanks, Dom. How are you?
Very good. Now, we're a couple of episodes in now with How to Witch, Bitch. And so far we've sort of covered a few things like the basics. We've covered the tools of the trade of witchcraft. We've also covered some spells and rituals. Now, we actually got some comments as well, which was rather cool. And this is what's so good about this, is we can actually get answers for people who really need them. Now, this person has said, her name's Tanya, and she said she's fascinated by the idea of witchcraft. I don't really know where to dip my toe in. I've heard a little about herbs. Have you had much experience? So maybe herbs is something that we could look at today as well.
Definitely.
You say coriander is the universal.
No, so it's rosemary.
Oh, the coriander. No one likes coriander, do they?
Or Shalantar, depending on what part of the world we're in.
Rosemary, that's right. So we have covered that. It's the universal herb for witchcraft.
So basically, if you've got I like to call it a recipe, or a spell, and the spell there is an ingredient that you don't have, then you just throw in rosemary. So it's always good to have a rosemary bush at the front of your door, because it actually does bring in good luck as well.
Okay.
And so a lot of witches do have rosemary at their front door. And again,
and make a killer lamb. Kill a lamb.
Bring it with a lamb and some red wine. But yeah, no, that is a universal herb, which is rosemary.
So when Tanya's saying about herbs and things like that, do you use them in spells or do you use them in practice, like drinking the herbs, all that kind of stuff?
Well, I do with my teas. So in my teas I have special herbs, which as you're drinking it, you're drinking the spell as well as you're saying it. So it comes with the chant on it as well. But with herbs, I like, for example, chili is for love. So, you're going to put, to spice up your love life, you'd put in chili. Pepper is also another one to pepper it up as well. So you put all this in the cauldron. The other thing I wanted to also talk about is sigils that I was talking about the other day. So sigils is where you do signs, and the signs can actually represent, like one for protection. It can represent, instead of writing a person's name, you can actually do a sigil with it. So it keeps it secret. So if ever it's found, nobody knows that you're talking about a certain person or a plan, and that can go in as well. Lavender for calm. Then you've got your mugwort for any sort of magic. So that just gives another little spice to it as well. But again, it's just depending on what you're wanting, and each herb's different.
So it is used a lot throughout, and also, of course, with your teas as well. I know that you've got a money tea.
Yeah.
You drink that, and you've got a sort of a spell that you're saying is you drink that to bring in more financial abundance as well. All those different things that you've got.
So like I've got a focus tea, which is also got the lemon in it. It's got ginger in it. So ginger's really good for clarity. And so my focus tea has the clarity in it. You got your cinnamon. Cinnamon is for sweetness, so to bring a bit of the sweet spot in for what you're thinking, keeping your thoughts in a good place. So also I have a gin with that too. So I brought out a gin with that coming. And so that's a potion of insight. So it's kind of like when you're drinking, it's sort of like you ponder. So often when we ponder on our problem when we're drinking, this is a healthier way to drink, where you actually have some clarity of what the problem is.
Okay.
So so that's on another note. But it's depending on what type of spell. So maybe if someone wants to sort of say, this is the spell I want, I can actually do... I can give you the spell for it or the ingredients for it.
Awesome. Now, also there was another comment as well from Darius. Don't live on the Gold Coast, but I've heard a lot about you and your shop. Do you sell your products online? Or should I plan a holiday to the Gold Coast and stop by to see everything? Yes, Darius, you should.
Yes, I think you should.
Yes, actually buy everything.
Yes.
You do sell them online though, don't you?
I do. I'm in the process of changing my website at the moment, so I'm only stocking my stuff at the moment in cauldrons, and I'm actually adding more and more stock to it. But if you are wanting anything that's certainly not on the website, just give me a quick PM through Facebook or through my Instagram page.
Is there anything that you can't sell online? Like, is there anything to be, like, obviously you'd have all your herbs and your crystals and all that kind of stuff, but there's like the spell kits and things like that. You can sell everything, can't you?
I can sell everything, yeah. So I do have some spell kits there. I have a banishing kit as well. Oh, and on the way of banishing, I did want to bring up that I had someone asking me about graveyard dirt, and I was just concerned that there wasn't going to be a whole lot of people raiding the cemeteries and taking the dirt off Mary's grave.
So from this, we were talking about in one of our episodes, the cauldron, what you put in there. And so in context of the graveyard dirt, you mentioned you would use that for what kind of spell?
Okay, so basically for either a banishing spell or a protection spell, or a hex. So it's kind of along that type of protection.
What's the difference between banishing and a hex?
Okay, so banishing is more like wanting someone to sort of leave you alone and not come back. And, and a hex kind of has a little bit of a connotation that you wish them harm. Okay,
and is that what you practice as well?
I know how to do it, but I don't do it, no.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we'll go back to take every person as you meet them. Because if an arsehole's an arsehole and they choose to be a Christian or they choose to be a witch or they choose to be something else, it's not...
They're still an arsehole.
They're still an arsehole.
Yep.
And I think I just want to clarify that.
So there is a power within witchcraft, like you said, with hexes and things like that, and wanting the worst for people. But the majority of witches, I would assume, would be using it as a positive and not as a negative. Like you said, assholes are assholes.
Yeah, so a witch is actually a wise woman. That's what she was, and that's what she's been knowing through history. And when we had the witch trials, it was because a lot of them were wise women. Funny enough, with their property and their land at a time when you shouldn't have been able to do that.
Right.
The English witches, unfortunately, they've actually brought down to bad bread, and just a lot of them were going nutso. But the majority of it was a way for the church to come in and steal land.
Right. That might have to be a whole other episode. The witch trials, I'm just thinking
something completely different.
Something completely different. But okay,
it's basically a witch is a wise woman.
When you're talking about banishing, that's wanting to, and we've discussed the energy of witchcraft as well, and the fact that you're sending out good, hoping for good back. That's what you want. Filling yourself with good energy. That's kind of one part of witchcraft. So this is banishing. So you're wanting someone to go away, to repel from your life.
A lot of people have probably heard about the freezer spell. A lot of people, it's a really easy thing to do. So you write their name down, or you do a sigil with it.
Okay, sigil. Let's go back to that as well. That's symbols.
Symbols.
Is there an actual alphabet of sigils?
Yes. So what you can do is you do a circle, and then around the circle you put the alphabet, and then you write the person's name and what you want for that person.
Right.
You take out the vowels, boom, 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 and then you start from where the first consonant. So is it A? So if it was A, you wouldn't do A, but you would then do C. So it's kind of like then you follow it around the actual, the wheel. And once the wheel's done, that's your sigil.
Okay.
So for example, if it was to hurt someone or to bring you prosperity, it depends. So it's prosperity and protection, you put it at your front door. If it was to do with actually wanting to hex someone or hurt somebody, you could put that under their car, or there's lots of things. I know lots of tricks of the trade.
Okay.
But a freezer spell works. So say we just want to freeze someone out of your life. Maybe they're texting you, or they're giving you a lot of trouble.
Or they're horrible.
Just write their name down and just fold it up. I like to put it in an ice tray. Put some water in it, and then pop it into the freezer, and you freeze them out of your life.
I like that one.
I do.
And that's very simple. And have you had success with that?
Yes.
Can you tell us that story?
Well, I just have to laugh, because the funny thing about that story is I have a whole lot of I did have a whole lot of names in.
It was a big ice tray. Right, okay.
Yeah. And then, of course, my partner comes in, and then he just puts it into his glass, and he's sitting there, and I'm seeing all these names
he's
bobbling
drinking
around.
Tony.
Yeah. Yes, he is. Tony, put him back in the freezer.
He's now at the door.
But that's easy, and a lot of people know about that particular spell. So it's it's like witchcraft is around us. I mean, blowing out your candles and making a wish, that's witchcraft. That's where it comes from. It's the fire witch part of it.
So banishing is removing someone. So that freezer is one.
Well, freezer's just a simple one to do. You can get quite elaborate with it, but if you just want a quick fix, there and then, write their name down and put them in the freezer.
All right, hex.
I'll tell you a funny thing about that. I actually did a reading for someone and I was saying how abundant they were going to be, and they were very abundant. And I was saying I could see your business making a lot of money, yada, yada, yada. And it was. And then I got a text and saying, I need you to come back to the house and do the house again because I do the
cleanse the
house. And he was just saying, by the way, you know, like my business seems to have stopped. The money has stopped. And I said, oh, what are you doing with your money? He had it in the freezer.
Oh.
I said, get it out. You're frozen your money.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And he couldn't believe it. He took it out, and then within a couple of days he got all this stuff coming through. He was a builder. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so it works. And he didn't even know he was doing it.
What an idiot. Why put it in the freezer? There's a whole bank system for that.
Oh, no. A lot of people. Little cash. What cash?
Okay, I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's in the freezer.
Yeah,
all right, so back to hexes. So hexes is obviously someone is doing you wrong, someone is doing you harm, and you want that to stop. Okay, so what's a simple hex that you can recommend to do in a nice way? Because hex just to me has such a negative connotation. Hex sounds like it's, you know,
I hex you.
Yeah. And that's, I guess, the American movie factor of it as well. You know,
that's
the craft and all that kind of stuff.
That's right.
So that was a great movie. Anyway.
I mean, a quick one to do is to actually get a lemon and just put the lemon in half, put a lot of salt in the lemon. So you're also wanting to protect yourself because you don't want this coming back on yourself.
So salt is used for protection, isn't it?
Salt is for protection, yeah. You can then get a tiny little candle, like a white candle or a black candle, preferably black, and you can do the symbols in it as well of what you really want that person to happen to that person, and you pop that in there. And so it's kind of like it's to sour their life.
Right.
So I want to sour their life. Some people put nails in.
Oh, goodness.
Yes.
This is kind of the voodoo doll factor.
Yeah,
okay.
So that's coming into the sort of the black sort of stuff. You can symbol it out and you can light it, and, of course, then I just put it in the cauldron and just let that sort of go. But you put another way to do it is you can get a jar and you can get photos of them. You can put fish hooks in. I mean, there's lots of different ways that you can,
and these,
do things.
As we've mentioned, these have worked for people as well.
Yes. And I've also been able to fix it. So I want to go into more protecting yourself so that nobody can do that to you. So say, for example, you know that someone's giving you a lot of grief, put them in the freezer. Rather than do a spell to send out, if you don't know what you're doing, it can come back to you. And we're always with the 3 law. If you do something, it comes back to you 3 times. So with that, I think it would be better to protect yourself. So a great thing to do is just to do the white light. So when you get up in the morning, imagine the white light around yourself, and you, as soon as your feet hit the floor, start talking to yourself positive. So instead of feeding the black wolf, which is negativity, let's go back into that feeding the white wolf again. And so that's more about, you know, I'm a good person, I'm a good mum, I'm a good this, I'm da-da-da. And you just sort of feed that white wolf up. I'm strong, you know, today's going to be a great day, whatever it is. But you've protected yourself with white light. So you know that you're already protected. The other thing is imagine a mirror around yourself with the mirror around you where it's facing out. Anything that's coming to you is going straight back.
Yep.
So you just, everywhere you go, you are a mirror. And you'll find that when you do that a lot of people coming up and saying, you're this, that, and that, you're this, that, and that, whatever it is, you'll find that they're actually talking about themselves because you've got a mirror up against you.
And it's shooting back to them.
Yes, shooting back to them.
And that protection, I think, is really strong as well, because that's changing your energy. Because if you're sitting there the whole time going, I'm horrible, I can't do this, da-da-da-da, of course you're not going to. Mm. But if you are saying things like today is going to be a good day, you're putting yourself into that white light, that positivity.
And the thing is when you're in a positive energy, your actual vibration does raise.
Yep.
So as you're raising your vibration, you'll find that you're attracting people of that caliber that's coming in. If you're sort of down in a lower vibration, you're attracting those sorts of people as well. So it's kind of like, I don't know why my life is this way. I don't know why I'm attracting these people in. Well, okay, let's look at your mindset. Your mindset's probably doing it as well. But for people that don't really know witchcraft like I do, you could get yourself in trouble, yes. Okay. And so the best thing is to do something easy, which is protect yourself before you learn.
Okay, and the salt as well. I mean, I don't know if this is the American movie factor of putting salt around you.
Yes.
We've discussed that as well, about having salt, so that kind of is protecting you from any negative sort of energy that's coming in.
Yeah, and the other thing is you can do things on the beach. So then you can, if you are actually all on salt, and then you just basically use your staff and you go anti-clockwise and just do a circle around yourself because salt's everywhere.
All right, let's cover this graveyard dirt business that you were worried about from last time. So the graveyard dirt was used in the cauldron for things like banishing, things that is it sort of a negative thing or is it a positive part of witchcraft, graveyard? Because to me, I feel as though graveyard dirt isn't like, bring me love, here's some graveyard dirt.
Well, it's sacred because especially if it's got a church.
Yes.
So, you have your cemetery dirt, but then graveyard dirt's different. Graveyard dirt's actually it's got a church on there, so it's kind of like it's a little bit different. And so with that, it's the same as normal dirt, but it's just got a lot more power with it.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, so that's what it is. It's the energy of the dirt. But I don't want people going and just stealing dirt.
This was your concern.
Yeah.
I don't want people just clawing at dirt, which I can understand. And I think it's a good community announcement that we don't do that.
Yeah, I think that with the graveyard dirt, you can certainly go and find a fresh, if someone's basically going to be buried that day, you can always ask to have a little bit as before. I don't want them going and stealing it off graves that are already there.
At funerals as well, that would be very awkward. Sorry, Gary, I know you're crying, but can I just have a little bit of that? Barry's not even there yet. Don't worry about it.
So timing's everything. And the other thing too is also to leave an offering. So you always leave an offering. So I often just have the orange peels, so oranges and orange peels, which is the sweetener, and pop that through as well. Now, this is going back to everywhere. You look at Hinduism, and there's always, if you're going to do something, there's always offerings, and it's the same with Wiccan, with witchcraft as well.
So the orange peel, what does that represent?
Oh, it's just sweetness and love and everything, and just the orange is just easier. Plus, it's biodegradable,
You're going to be an eco-friendly witch.
Cheesecake. Something smells a bit off, Barry. What the fuck is the cheesecake doing here? I don't know. I saw this weirdo before stealing dirt.
Oh, dear. So something that can biodegrade and won't offend. Yeah. But I can see that. You're taking something, so you're offering something back.
Yes.
So that's something that we wanted to clarify with the graveyard dirt.
Yes. And that's also the same when you start on your spells as well. I mean, as I said before, with the altar, you always start with an offering. So you always have an offering before you start to your whatever the god or the goddess is you do. I mean, I use Hairgate, so, I always give her an offering.
Hairgate is that? I thought that was some form of
so I always give
product.
her actual rose petals because I'm wanting to work in the energy of love.
Yeah.
So I use rose petals for that. But yeah, no, I just thought I wanted to clarify. So I just have all these people coming in saying, I've just been watching How to Witch Bitch and I've been told to come and steal some graveyard dirt because I'm going to hex Tony. Because my husband was drinking the ice cubes from the fridge.
Hilarious.
Oh, how funny was that?
So funny.
Yeah.
All right, well, we've covered a lot, but I think clarification is also good with some of this stuff as well. In the next couple of episodes as well, we'll look at the Wheel of the Year, which is the 8 Sabbaths, is that right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're going to explain that, which is good, and also discuss what they are when it comes to the neo-pagan calendar. Yeah. So you follow a completely different calendar to the rest of us.
Well, the thing is that a lot of witches are over in the States and also in England. So everything here, being in the South, is just back to front. And a lot of people, some follow that, they just follow it, but here I don't. I actually switch it up. So while one is celebrating one Sabbath, I'm doing a totally different one here. And I guess with everyone here, it's best to follow the wheel from where you're born.
Yeah. All right, we'll cover those in the next couple of episodes. Any questions, any comments, we'd love to know like we have today. Thank you to Darius and also to Tanya and addressing those certain things that they found interesting. We've clarified graveyard dirt. It's all very good. So we've covered a few things today. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
Woodwork Podcasts.